all in or all out. You've probably said that before, because I know I have. Committed achievers will say they're all in or all out, which can only get you so far. It's actually a limitation, because by saying all in or all out, it means I have to be perfect and give 100% or I'm not doing it all. And what that equates to is that sometimes you'll have breakthroughs, but most of the time you're not, because you're constantly taking 2 steps forward and 2 or more steps backwards. So while challenge creates change, that is the core principle of improving any aspect of your life. You need to stimulate the body so it gets stronger, so it burn fat, so it build muscle, so you have energy, health, all this good stuff. So challenge creates change. But on the flip side of that, the secondary principle, which is just as important, is be consistent and relentless. Consistency is the key. You can train your face off. If you only do it once a week or once a month, not much is going to happen. You're just going to be really sore from it. What you need to do is be consistent and relentless. Your body becomes what you demand of it. So most people, when they start training, they go from the couch to crazy, and they do way more than their body can actually handle, and they get super sore, and they think that's the way it feels when you train. That's not how it feels when you train. This is when you're consistent, relentless, it is energizing. It's like charging your batteries. That's what training really is. The purpose of training isn't to get the physical result. That's the side effect. The purpose of physical training is to intentionally and strategically improve your health, fitness, energy, performance by first connecting to your high self, the best version of you, what we call the lion, rather than the default of most humans is fear-based emotional states that we call the lamb. So at any given moment, we can either step into who we really are and create life on our terms and feel great doing it, be in love-based emotional states, or we can go into fear-based emotional states. We can go into the lamb, that part of us where we don't make good decisions, where we make mistakes. So I just want to drive that home, because I will tell you that a million times. In order to master your body, you must first master your mind. Before you change your body, you must first change your mind. And this is what's missing in the world today. The world is missing the intentional and strategic thinking of what do I want to create? Or rather, they just go through the motions. They feel some pain. They're like, I don't like the way my body looks. I don't like the way my body feels. I don't like what the blood work said. And then they jump into something, the first thing they hear. And they don't take the time to get a clear vision of what they want. Now, we have a process called the North Star process, which is a handful of questions that you contemplate each day until it becomes part of you, until you rewrite the script of your life. So that I'm going to drive home again and again, the North Star process. I've sent it to you. If you don't have it, just send me a message. But today, the main focus is how can we be consistent and relentless? So when is it a good idea to miss a workout? Never. Like, well, what about when I'm sick? Or like, what about when I'm traveling? What about when this happens or that happens? Well, if the purpose of training is to connect to your best self, why would you ever miss? On those days where life is throwing you through curves, those are the days you need to connect more than ever. And that's what life's really about, to create life in a way where you uplift those around you and you enjoy the ride. This is about self-mastery. So what do you do when life gets a little crazy? So there's a couple rules. There is what I call the 10-minute rule. So you train 10 minutes no matter what, and then you decide. So before you say like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep, I'm not going to train. It's like, no, I'm going to do enough work where I will boost my immune system through exercise. I'm not killing myself. I'm moving. I'm getting my heart rate accelerated, and I'm sweating, which is boosting immunity. The other thing is I'm going to take the time to summon the line, to connect that part of me so that I can be in a healing state and I can still be productive and not just waste a day of life. So the 10-minute rule is based off research at Harvard, where they looked at people like, why do some people fall through and other people don't? Well, the people that tend to fall through tend to show up no matter what. Like, hey, I'm going to show up and just do 10 minutes. And that's where this comes from. Like, hey, I'm going to go to this meeting, but I'm only going to be there 10 minutes. Then I'll decide if I'm going to stay. But by that point, you're already connected. You're already productive. You already done the hardest part, which is usually showing up. and you want to show up as your best self. So the 10-minute rule is you train no matter what. So say you're traveling, you're at an event, you haven't slept, someone's sick around you, you have a crazy schedule. What do? Just skip? No, because every day you get a little better or you get a little worse. That's the truth. Let that sink in. If you don't use it, you lose it. So at the end of every day, the body keeps score. And it says, hey, did we get stronger today or weaker? Did we get a little bit more vital or less? Did we get better or did we get worse? That doesn't mean you have this, it's a lot. It's these little small micro changes that occur each day, and they add up. And that's why it's so important to do the little things consistently and relentlessly that lead to massive change. So that's the 10-minute rule. You do 10 minutes no matter what. So what I like to do with this is, say it's an event, I slept 3 hours, I'm like, I train no matter what. So that's not even a question. I review my workout, then I do the warm-up, I set a timer for 10 minutes, and then I go for it. At the end of 10 minutes, the thing goes off, I say, okay, is that it? And sometimes it is. Sometimes you have those days. And then you say, okay, it's not smart for me to continue because it's just not that time, right? So without going too deep into it, but then do the cool down. The beginning and end of every training session is structural balance and mobility. It's going to help get your muscles looser. It's going to give you some more energy as well, but it's also we're doing mental conditioning. So you just do 10 minutes of training, and you do it not like killing yourself intense. You're moving. You're standing the way you want to look. You're demanding your muscles to fire, and then you start to feel better, and you'll heal faster as well. So 10 minutes no matter what. But along those lines, I got to explain another concept. So we got the 10-minute rule, and then we have the fight or flow principle. So there are two types of training sessions. There are fight ones, and if you've ever been in an actual fight, like say if you're a martial artist or someone you just got in a scuffle at the playground or whatever, that is intense. It requires all of you. You have to be 100% present, absolute concentration and presence. And it requires everything you have. Some days you train like that. Ideally, those are the Monday, Wednesday, Friday strength training workouts. And if you can be consistent with that, that's going to help because challenge creates change. So some days you bring the thunder, you fight. And then other days, if you haven't slept, like you're doing the 10-minute rule, you're going to flow. A flow workout is where you are focused on accelerating your heart rate, improving circulation, and working up a sweat. You want to stimulate the body, not annihilate it. Very important. So some days you fight, some days you flow. Sometimes it just depends on your life, but you also don't want to use this as an excuse to not challenge yourself. So that's why I say fight or flow. You don't want to do all your training sessions like that. You don't want to kill yourself every training session, but you need to challenge yourself or you won't get the stimulus. So fight or flow. Keep that in mind. And if you have questions on it, please let me know, because once you know these principles and life, throws you a few curveballs, you know how to adjust. So fight or flow, 10-minute rule. Now, the last principle it answers the question, how do you know you challenge yourself? How do you know your workout is working? The simple answer is if you're working, the workout is. And so your program is designed with all this science behind it. And then it's up to you to add the presence of being there, concentrating, not being distracted, and challenging yourself. But there are 4 success indicators. I call this the BOSS principle. This is something you want to write down. This is something you want to memorize. So how do you know your workout's working? So BOSS, B-O-S-S. So B stands for burn. Are your muscles burning? So when you're doing strength training, ideally you're training to the point where you're getting the blood flow in there and you're making your muscles burn. That is caused by lactate. And when that occurs, the muscles start to fatigue, but your body produces growth hormone, large amounts of growth hormone that are earned, not given. You have to challenge yourself and get those muscles burning in order for that to happen. Got it? So burn. Now, out of breath. When you get out of breath, you improve your respiratory function. Your lung gets stronger, your heart gets stronger, your circulatory system gets stronger. You also create oxygen deprivation, and that means your body gets better at utilizing oxygen. There is a host of reasons why this is important. But if you're just walking and not getting out of breath, walking's good, but that's not going to challenge you. You've got to get out of breath. Very important. To the point where you can talk, but you couldn't sing. Not where you're gasping or going to black out, but you want to get out of breath where you're accelerating your heart rate. So looking at your heart rate is a good way of doing this. But if your heart rate's 170 and you're not out of breath, that monitor might not be working. So keep that in mind. Don't just blindly trust the monitors, because a lot of them aren't accurate. So keep out of breath. So muscles are burning. You're producing more growth hormone, which burns fat, builds muscle, turns back the hands of time. And then you get out of breath, which is doing all kinds of great things. Now, S, sweat. Sweat is the single most effective way of removing toxins from the body. It doesn't disrupt your gastrointestinal system, but we did a study on this where we actually measured sweat and sent it to the lab and like, hey, what's in people's sweat? And we had them in a sauna doing this, so we were pulling it out, and we found all kinds of heavy metals. We also found Roundup, glyphosate. And these are people that when we interviewed them, they don't even handle Roundup. So it's found everywhere basically. But there's nothing to be scared of. When you give your body what it needs, especially when you sweat and you get the nutrients and the water and the rest, you're exercising, your body clears everything. It's miraculous. The average person in North America lives 8 decades and they're not even trying. So when you're doing these little things each day, you are going to be healthy. You have nothing to fear. So sweat. Then the last one is struggle. If your first rep and your last rep of a set looks the same, you didn't challenge yourself. You want to train at the point, not where your form goes the heck. What you want to do is you want to challenge yourself to the point where you can't keep perfect form. And then you're like, all right, that's it. That's the stimulus. And you want to constantly focus on doing more. So can you get more reps this week? Can you use a little bit more resistance, a heavier band, or hold a weight or something like that? Challenge creates change. You got to struggle. And that will stimulate the body, but not annihilate. So that's the BOSS principle, my friends. So 3 principles that you want to make part of your psyche. So when you view the world, you look it through this lens and you have these principles so you can understand the patterns. The first one, 10 minutes, no matter what. We got to at least hold our ground and not keep taking 2 steps forward and 2 or more steps back. We got to either be holding our ground or improving each day, because every day you get a little better or a little worse. So that's a 10-minute rule. The second one is fight or flow. When you have enough rest, when everything's going good, you can really push yourself, and challenge creates change. But there's some days where it's not smart. So if you start getting a sore throat or something, you don't want to do a fight workout. You want to move. You want to sweat. You want to boost immune function. That's what we call flow workout. But if every workout's a flow workout, you're not going to get the stimulus. So it's finding this balance of fight and flow training sessions. Are you improving each week? Are you able to get more reps? Are you getting more sets? Those are the things you want to look at. Look at your performance, your strength and endurance each week, and that's going to tell us a lot. And then soon I'm going to teach you how to assess your results without taking any measurements and also a very simple way of assessing your muscle and fat ratio from the United States Army. If you have questions, let me know. I'm here to serve you and coach you and empower you and educate you so you become your own best personal trainer. And you can do this. I'm telling you, I'm honored to assist you, and I'm looking forward to your next step in your transformation. That was a funny way of ending it. All right, my friends, no lambs, only lions. You tap into the real you, but you have to retrain yourself. The way you retrain yourself is you wake your ass up in the morning and you say, I am here for a reason and a purpose. And it's bigger than my moods. It's bigger than the difficulties of the day. I am here to live like a lion, not the fear of a lamb.